if we're designing a pre-qualification scheme or a series of questions, you need to know what objections are most common for your product. And usually there's 3 to 5 objections, okay? And I'll include in here conditions to buy too, and you'll see what that means in a minute. But let's take final expense, for example. So reasons why somebody doesn't buy. No need, no desire, doesn't health qualify, no bank account, and that's a condition to doing business, or won't let you draft. That might be a condition. It might just be an objection that you can overcome. And then no budget, no money, okay? So again, instead of figuring this out later, I figured, well, how can I answer these questions now to figure out ahead of time if these people meet my criteria? So let's look at each of these. And what I want you to think as I'm asking this, whether you're with final expense and you sell final expense, this is great. It'll be very applicable. But if you sell Medicare supplements, if you sell mortgage protection, if you sell any kind of insurance product, these principles, these fundamentals will apply. And so as I'm answering why or how I address these 5 potential objections, I want you to be thinking about the product you sell and think about the objections you've heard in your short experience doing this. Or if you're brand new, talk to your mentor, talk to your person that's most experienced with the kind of product that you sell, and learn from them. Just say, hey, what kind of objections do you most commonly hear? You know, maybe top 3 to 5. And then get a little more information and then develop some questions that will overcome this or disqualify them. So let's start with need. So one of the best questions that I ask when I pre-qualify my final expense clients is that I ask right up front to get this particular section started, as I ask, and I think every single person who does any kind of lead generation, whether it's final expense or otherwise, needs to do or ask this type of question. What were your thoughts and concerns when you mailed back this card, if we're doing direct mail leads? If it's Facebook leads, telemarketed leads, seminar leads, it doesn't matter. Rephrase it, because the most important aspect of this is, why did you do what you did? That is the essence of which we're trying to capture. You see, I think it's really important from the get-go to understand why people took action. One thing that you'll realize in life, especially if you deal with non-salespeople, most people go through life not taking action. They sit on their laurels. They watch as time goes by. They wish they could be successful. They wish they could go out there and see the kind of results that some people do in life, the top 20%, the top 10 or 5%, and they want that. But they never take the first step. They never take the first course. They never take the first step to try to get some help. Maybe they've got a brother who's successful or an uncle. They never ask. They never take action. And so when somebody, and that's applicable to everything in life, when somebody takes action to take a risk, to figure out, to send this card back, to answer a telemarketing call, knowing that they probably hate salespeople, or that they're going to get a salesperson to call, or they're going to get some kind of potential risk that they're going to face, the fact that they do it anyway is an interesting question as to why I'm asking. And the reason I'm stating this is because knowing all this, the fact that they send this in, knowing that something's going to happen, means there's probably some really good reason why they did what they did as it relates to the product that we're selling. So when I ask somebody, what were your thoughts and concerns when you mailed back this card? And they say something like, look, I'm not getting any older. My brother died. They didn't have money to bury him. And I'm not doing that to my kids. Bingo. I have got need and I've got desire coupled into that question. So that's the first aspect of selling, I think. You need to know, whoops, we do this live here Monday through Friday, ladies and gentlemen. And sometimes I forget to turn my phone off. So let me turn this off here. And then I'll continue. All right. So what's cool about this question is that what ends up happening is that you actually get the need and want aspect out of the way right up front. Again, we need to know what these people think and what's motivating them to take this action. I did in my inner circle group, I have a membership program for final expense agents that want ongoing coaching, specific training to them, access to my training materials. It's a month-to-month membership deal. You can contact me if you're interested. I'll tell you more about it. But in my last session on Friday, I had reviewed an agent of mine. He's a brand new agent, and we looked at his sales presentation. And he did not ask that question, what were your thoughts and concerns when you sent back the card? And what you'd notice as you listen through the presentation, the whole thing kind of meandered back and forth, and he went to pitching the product, he went to talking about burial. Well, he didn't even know if she was interested in getting burial coverage. He didn't even know if she had a budget. And he was kind of all over the board. Granted, he was new. It's not a personal criticism. As much as it's an example, it's demonstrable of what happens if you don't start off on the right foot. So long story short, always ask, why did you do what you did in so many terms? Why am I here? What were your thoughts and concerns when you sent back this card? And then from there, just sit back and listen. So there's a couple other aspects to this. I like asking, if they've got, what are you doing right now for your existing life insurance? I asked this question because I want to know if they're a buyer. I also want to know who the incumbent policy is to see if there's an opportunity to improve upon what they have. Again, I want to know that now. I might get through an entire sales presentation and be ginned up on how great my plan is and how competitive it is, and they just may say, I need to think about it. And they may say, yeah, I've already got coverage. Oh, man, all that time spent, I could have just asked the question, and 99% of the time you're going to get all the information you need off of it anyway. And plus, it segues into doing a review, meaning if you get the information, say, hey, one thing I do as a courtesy to my clients is I review their existing coverage. Probably haven't had your agent over here in years to look at it. We want to make sure you've got the right kind of plan before I make any suggestions. Do you mind grabbing that for me? A lot of the time you'll get it, and then you can show them what they have and then demonstrate your authority. It's all good. And you can do that with any insurance product. Anybody that you deal with that may have something that you already sell, do a policy review. And by asking that question, it gets you to that point. And again, that helps you sell when it comes to selling because you've got stuff in fine print. If what they have has some inferiority to it, you can demonstrate why that's the case. So I like asking them, when it comes to final expense, do you want to be buried or cremated? This gives me an idea of how much coverage you're looking for. And then I'll add on to this, I'll ask them, what do you want your policy to do for you? And so when I ask that question, it's an open-ended question, and we're going to describe the different kind of questions in a minute. But that allows them to go into detail about, okay, yeah, I want this policy to leave a legacy to my kids, the people I love. And again, going back to what we just talked about with my agent, if he had asked that question, he would have known right away what's motivating this woman. She had already set aside cash for burial, or cremation maybe. She was the least bit motivated there. She wanted to leave money to her kids as a legacy. So he could have built, if he had known that, could have built his presentation on how we leave legacies through life insurance and how it's a benefit to you versus not doing it. See what I'm saying here? It says we ask these questions. We really get to see what these motivations are of our clients, and then we hone in on them when it comes to presentation time, and then really make a custom tailored presentation designed to get them the results that they're looking for.